Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Uh, it's morning here anyway, depending on where you are in the world. Today is the 27th day of August, 2023. This is interesting. Uh, I was inspired to do this. It's not a podcast, it's not a channel. It's just something I thought I should do, basically to give back. I've been mulling this, and I was inspired to do this based on some of my experiences and things that I see that a lot of people need help with. This is just me sharing my thoughts and things that I've seen based on my experiences so far in my professional life. Today we'll be discussing emotional intelligence and broadly beyond emotional intelligence, how to communicate in the workplace in a professional setting. This is mainly targeted at the immigrant population in Canada or elsewhere. It doesn't really matter, especially areas where you are new, you're adapting to the system, you're learning and growing and meeting people and integrating yourself into the workforce. There are some strategies and some things you need to learn that will help you and that are instructive, that will help you to grow and and succeed in that integration process. Whether you work in tech remotely, whether you're a frontline employee, whether you work in pick and pack, whether you're in management, middle management, employee, customer facing or not, this particular skill will help you to manage up, manage down, and build those relationships that you require to succeed at any workplace that you find yourself. So, emotional intelligence and communication. We hear that word emotional intelligence a lot, but what exactly is it? But before I go into, I just have two or three key points. This is not going to be a very long discussion. A bit about myself. So where am I coming from? Why do I feel I have a right to talk about this? Right. Basically, Bumi professional experience. I would say 15 plus years, definitely, in different industries. Mostly, I would say in health and safety. Lots of my years spent in consulting. I did lots of consulting back in Nigeria and also abroad. I used to work for the British government as an expert in East Africa in international development, led World Bank projects, and also in Canada now I've been a people leader for a while. Managed a large team first, and now I'm managing another large team nationally, so in charge of the whole of Canada for my particular specialty. Now, what exactly is it about emotional intelligence that people always have a problem with? Now, we do have, as a BIPOC leader, so when I say BIPOC, it means Black Indigenous People of Color for the Canadian context. As a BIPOC leader and as somebody who came from Africa, from Nigeria, there is always this default position when people have conflict at work. It's not even conflict when there are difficult conversations to be had, right? When you have difficult conversations or difficult thoughts or you're being challenged, you always have this default position that this is from a place of hate, or this is racism or stuff. And what we find a lot is that a lot of people don't succeed because of one key ingredient in their communication, especially difficult communications when things are not going right. And that key thing is that people react rather than respond. And when I say react rather than respond, reaction is an emotional, I would say an emotional outburst to something that was said or something that was, and then you do not express your thoughts in a logical way. You are fighting back. right? You are fighting back. Your facial expression indicates you're flustered, anger, and all that kind of stuff. But there are processes that you can use and strategies that could help you. So the first thing first, the first thing. Why did I say first thing first? That's very Nigerian. The first thing you need to realize is that you you respond rather than react. So responding, what does responding mean? It gives you answer a question. It's usually slow. It usually provides clarification. It usually comes logically, rather than when you react, which comes off aggressive. You're out of control. You are attacking the personality. You're not answering the question, or you feel attacked yourself. So you take a defensive posture, and automatically you lose, to be honest with you. Because any independent observer, which for the most part, sometimes HR might be involved, sometimes HR is not involved. And that's why people always have that perception that HR people are terrible and HR never helps you and HR is always about the company. Yeah, that might be true in certain cases. They're there to defend the interest of the organization, which is fine. But if you haven't helped yourself by presenting your own side logically or chronologically, or in a way that doesn't seem aggressive, then automatically, you are in a defensive position. For me, I've had examples about it, and this wasn't even conflict based. It's just by virtue of my position in my previous organization, where 2,200 employees on a daily basis. We are only 9 managers, and we had to make difficult decisions, especially during COVID. There's always going to be friction at work, right? And there was this other manager who came up, God rest her soul. She was very sweet. Who made an allegation that I hadn't done something that I was supposed to do. And it went to my boss, who is our boss. My boss called me and we sat down together in a room, and I said, well, that's factually incorrect. I didn't call her a liar. I said what she said is factually incorrect. And I logically laid down the steps and the process of what I'd done and what I hadn't done and what needed to be done. And the fact that even what I had given her, she hadn't done the follow-up and she's asking for something else, right? Eventually, she wasn't happy. Definitely, I won't say she wasn't happy, but I was able to respond in a logical way that made sense to everybody. You probably didn't like my response, but nobody could fault me for the position and action that I took. Now, a lot of us find ourselves in situations like that where, something came up at work. The first things first, your face becomes like thunder. Your eyes are red. You are vibrating. You are attacked. You feel attacked. You target racism. You target discrimination. You target they don't like me. You target this, that, and that. Automatically, you lose. Automatically. Because, okay, fine, people always run back when they see discrimination or racism and all that kind of stuff. It's not that doesn't happen. Obviously, that is always a thing. But if you are able to respond in a logical manner, clarifying manner, and able to give concrete steps and things that you have done or you haven't done or where things are at, you definitely come out on top, right? There are simple things you can do, very simple things. First of all, take a step back. Ask clarifying questions if you are not sure exactly. So if it is something that is being said to, oh, you don't usually do this, or you don't usually do that, or you haven't done this, or you haven't done, or if it's something that, oh, this person, you always come late, or you don't always do this, you can ask a qualifying question to say, okay, what experience has informed that opinion? So what have you done by asking that question? You've tagged what they've said an opinion, and you've asked them for examples that informed that opinion, right? So if you have an opinion about something, you must have experienced something that informed you to have that opinion. So you can ask a qualifying question like that. Okay, tell me what just to be clear, you can frame it this way, just to be clear. And so you know, I understand what you've said. I've heard you, but can you give me uh, an example of an experience that you had that made you form this opinion about me, or made you form this opinion or that you have just laid out? Because you target an opinion and then you'd ask for real life concrete examples. And then you throw them on the spot, whether they can respond or not. And if they can't, you say, okay, yeah, whatever it is that has made you form that opinion, unfortunately, I do not feel that is aligned with what I have been doing. And then you say, I have been doing this, that, and that. Or the reason why I was unable to do this, that, and that is because I was waiting for information from this, that, and that. And everybody is clear about where everybody is, right? So always try to react, to respond rather than react. A lot of us react, and it's because of where we are from. So, for example, I am from Africa. I'm Nigerian. If you don't like it, straight up on our face. If you are talking rubbish in an interview, for example, we lose interest. Like, you can see it. We wear our emotions on our sleeves. It's very obvious. But it's not like that, especially when you migrate. That's not the way people think, and that's not the way people move. So you have to adapt. You have to learn and you have to grow. Another key thing, another key ingredient is, and I learned this as well from work and from working in Canada and from working professionally in Canada, is assume positive intent. What do I mean by assume? It's difficult because we are a summation of our life experiences, where we all have different backgrounds, we all have different ways we've been raised. But assuming positive intent would help you in a workplace to succeed. Now, is it that everybody is positive or everybody is good? No. Is it that everybody means well? No. But assuming positive intent would help you have greater control of your emotions and will help you be more emotionally intelligent in your response. So, from back home, that person is a witch, this one is out to get me, that one is out to get me. So some people are brought up to be cynical, right? But if you assume positive intent, somebody asks you for a document or somebody asks you to get something done, and you don't think, oh, this person is doing this because they want to get me, right? Or they want to get me fired, or they want my position or stuff like that. You react differently to where you have a negative perception that everything this person is doing, they're out to get me, right? So assuming positive intent in most cases would help you to be a bit more emotionally intelligent in your response, rather than and make you be a lot more. You respond more rather than react, right? Because you don't think that this person is coming from, this person is out to get me as a default position. So when you have this person is out to get me as a default position, then you would always react rather than respond. And there's no way when you react all the time, you get yourself into trouble, because everybody knows you as this person. And you start to become a liability to the organization. And especially in the Western world, it's hire and fire, right? There is no, if you're not working, they would tell you things like, oh, company fit. And then when they talk about company fit, it is mainly how you integrate with people and how you relate. It's all about communication. 90% of the time is rarely about expertise. Sometimes it might be expertise that you don't know how to use Excel. If you don't know how to use Excel, you can't work in Canada, especially in a professional setting. Excel is everything, right? But most of the time, company fit has to do with personality, how you respond, how you take things, how you talk to people, and how you integrate into the system. Integration doesn't mean you guys have to have dinner and always go to drinks and blah, blah, blah. That does help, because, in every formal organization, 70-80% of communication and relationships are informal. So you have to build those bridges, you have to connect with people, you have to find things of common interest, blah, 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 blah. But you have to assume positive intent. If you come in cynical, thinking everybody's out to get you, everybody wants your job, this person doesn't like you because you're black, or everybody in the world is racist because you are the only one different. No, that is not true. You have to assume positive intent, right? And people will challenge you. Oh yeah, yeah. Even pardon the religious analogy. Even Jesus Christ, people challenged him. People will challenge you for everything, everywhere. If you bring up a thought, if you bring up a decision, if you bring up an idea, people will challenge you. And especially in business setting, when you are even in management, it's a competition for scarce resources, right? Every department wants something for themselves. If you want something, for example, I bring up an idea that's going to cost the organization $1 million or $2 million or $5 or $10 million. People are going to ask me difficult questions. I have to come up with answers, and I have to justify why that resource should be allocated to me. And even all the internal politics, jostling for influence, people will challenge you. And if they do, it doesn't necessarily come from a place of hate. It doesn't necessarily come from a place of racism. That does happen, yes, but 90+% of the time, that is not the reason. It is just human interaction. It is just work. It is just trying to be the best that everyone wants to be, right? It is just sometimes looking out for themselves or looking out for you or even looking out for your team, right? So assuming positive intent would help us be a lot more emotional intelligent in our dealings. The third thing would be seek help, guidance, and learning. Read books on emotional intelligence. Listen to podcasts. I do that all the time. HBR, IdeaCast, HBR on leadership. That's the Harvard Business Review. I listen to several podcasts. That's what I do in my spare time. Most times, a lot of times when I'm driving, I'm listening to a podcast. I'm listening to something that can help me, something I can learn from, right? On how to grow and develop. Read different books on emotional intelligence. And to give you a typical example, so when I first joined my previous organization, during meetings, I had a team of, I would say, 14 team members. Lots of them had 15, 17 years in experience in the organization. And they brought this black boy with African accent. But they were all very good. We worked very well together. When I got to corporate meetings or senior leadership meetings where other departments were challenging me and challenging us, I was always reacting. Like, the moment you say something, I'm pouncing on you, I'm pouncing on, And my boss called me. I was like, on these meetings, you come off like you're pouncing on everybody. Like, people have started to complain. So I had to go back, take a step back, go and start learning how to respond rather than react. And I was doing it out of, defending my department, defending my team, defending myself. But it's not about defending yourself. It's about responding to what was discussed. And they were not doing it because they hated me or they didn't like me. It was just the nature of work, right? So I had to learn that over time. So you have to go and seek help, guidance, and learning. You have to look for mentors. You have to learn. You have to seek guidance. And this can happen anywhere. You can be picking in Amazon. You can be working in Walmart. You can be doing anything, right? These skills will help you anywhere you work, especially in the Western world. And it's very instructive because I hear that a lot from the immigrant population. You can't believe how much everything is racism. Everything is, in my work, they are all enemies. They don't like me, blah, 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 blah. A lot of it is because you are not emotionally intelligent. You haven't sharpened or honed your communication skills. If you have better communication skills, or you've honed your communication skills, or you've developed your communication skills, 80% of your workplace problems will be gone. And that is what I have seen in my experience. And that is not to say that's a fact. I don't have any research to back that up. But in my own experience, your communication skills solves 80% of your issues at work. Not that there won't still be issues, but a majority of them will be gone with better communication skills. And especially for us, the immigrant population, emotional intelligence is a key part of that, right? And then when you learn all these things, practice. Go out there, practice the emotional intelligence you've learned, practice the communication skills you've learned, practice active listening, especially for management managers, active listening. When you are listening to people, being present, repeating what they've said or parts of it back to them so that they know that you've heard what they're saying. Talk about, not talk about things that they've said that resonate with you so they know that you're actively listening to them. uh, and continue to practice your emotional intelligence skills and emotional things you've learned on that journey. Uh, whew, this has taken 21 minutes. Pardon me, this will be a bit clunky. This is the first time I'm doing anything like this. I'm just sharing. I'm seeing how to help others because that's basically what I do. I help people to see how this helps others and not for it to trend or whatever, whatever, whatever. But you know, first first time I'm sharing my thoughts. There's no caption. I don't have a title. I don't. It's not a podcast. It's not anything. It's just sharing my thoughts. As somebody who's had many years professional experience, and also I've worked on the front lines as well. There's nothing I haven't done when I was schooling in the UK. There's nothing I haven't done. You name it, I've done it. Care, support, working at the dumpster, whatever. I have done it. Everything. So I have seen all the sides, and now that I'm in senior leadership, I have a bit more context, right? And I have a bit more, you know, a broader view of things, uh, and how they work. So I'll leave it at that. Maybe I'll take on something else next time. Talk about other things that will be beneficial and helpful to everyone on this on their professional journey, and also on the personal development journey as well. So see ya. Take care. Peace.